There is something happening inside of you right now that you cannot undo. And I know that sounds dramatic. I know that sounds like the kind of thing someone says to get your attention. But I need you to hear me when I tell you this is not that. This is not a hook. This is not a metaphor. Something has already shifted in the architecture of your awareness, and the very fact that you are here, that you clicked on this, that something in you recognized this title and felt it land somewhere deeper than curiosity, that is the proof. You did not find this video. This video found you, and the reason it found you is because you have already crossed a threshold that most people do not even know exists. You are past the point of no return, and no, you cannot go back. Now let me be very clear about what I mean by that. Because the mind is going to want to interpret those words through the lens of fear. It is going to want to make this about something ominous, something threatening, something that implies you have lost something, or broken something, or wandered too far from safety. That is not what is happening. What is happening is far more profound and far more beautiful than your fear wants to allow. What is happening is that you have begun to see. And once you see, you cannot unsee. Once you become aware of the deeper mechanics of your own consciousness, once you catch even a glimpse of how reality actually operates beneath the surface of what you were taught, there is no mechanism in the universe that can fold that awareness back into ignorance. The egg cannot return to the shell. The butterfly cannot crawl back into the cocoon. And you, wherever you are right now, whatever stage of this unfolding you find yourself in, you cannot return to the version of you that existed before this seeing began. Let that land for a moment. Just breathe with that. Because most of what you have been experiencing lately, the confusion, the disorientation, the sense that the life you built no longer fits, the strange feeling that you are watching your old world from the outside, the exhaustion that is not physical, but something deeper, something almost cellular. All of that is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that something is finally, irreversibly right. You are not breaking down. You are breaking open. And there is a difference between those two things that changes everything. Here is what no one tells you about awakening. They do not tell you that it feels, at first, like loss. They do not tell you that the initial stages of genuine consciousness expansion look almost identical to crisis. They do not tell you that the moment your perception begins to shift at a fundamental level, the first thing that happens is that everything you built on the old perception starts to destabilize. Relationships that were held together by unconscious patterns begin to strain. Careers that were chosen from conditioning rather than alignment begin to feel suffocating. Beliefs that once gave you comfort begin to feel like cages. And the mind, the beautiful and terrified mind, interprets all of this as something going wrong. It says you are lost. It says you have made a mistake. It says go back. Go back to the familiar. Go back to the comfortable. Go back to the version of reality where everything made sense, even if that sense was built on lies. But you cannot go back. And somewhere beneath the noise of that fear, you already know this. You have known it for a while now. That is why you are here. So let us talk about what has actually happened to you. Let us talk about the point of no return and what it really means. Not in vague spiritual terms, not in abstract philosophy, but in the actual mechanics of consciousness and perception and the quantum nature of reality itself. There is a concept in physics called phase transition. It describes the moment when a system changes from one state to another. Water becoming ice, ice becoming water, water becoming steam. And the critical thing about a phase transition is that it is not gradual in the way we think of gradual. Yes, there is a process. Yes, the temperature changes degree by degree, but the actual transition, the actual moment when the system shifts from one state to another, that is sudden, that is non-linear, that is a threshold event. 1 degree before the boiling point, you have water. 1 degree past it, you have something fundamentally different. And you cannot make steam become water again just by wanting it to. You would have to change the entire environment, remove the energy, cool the system back down. The transition itself is irreversible under the same conditions. This is what has happened to you. Not metaphorically, literally. Your consciousness has undergone a phase transition. The energy that has been building in you, through every question you have asked, through every moment of suffering that made you look deeper, through every book and every conversation and every silent night where you stared at the ceiling and felt that there had to be more than this. All of that energy was accumulating, degree by degree, and at some point, at a point you may not even be able to identify on a calendar, you crossed the threshold. You boiled. You became something that cannot simply cool itself back into what it was. And this is not philosophy. This is observable in the neuroscience of consciousness. When the brain undergoes significant shifts in its default mode network, when the patterns of self-referential thinking that create what we experience as the ego begin to loosen, the neural pathways that supported the old model of self literally begin to weaken. New connections form. New networks activate. The brain physically reorganizes itself around the new perception. And while neuroplasticity means the brain is always changing, the specific kind of reorganization that occurs during genuine awakening creates what researchers describe as a new baseline, a new normal, a new default state that the system naturally returns to. You are not visiting a new state of consciousness. You have moved into one. This is why you cannot go back, not because some cosmic force is preventing you, not because you are being punished or trapped, but because the you that would go back no longer exists. The neural architecture that supported that version of reality has already begun to dissolve. The perceptual framework that made the old world make sense has already been replaced by something wider, something deeper, something that includes what came before but transcends it entirely. You are not the same observer you were, and in a universe where the observer shapes what is observed, that changes everything. If this understanding of the observer and the phase transition of consciousness is resonating deeply with you, what we have touched on here is only the surface of a much larger system. In my book, Beyond the Frequencies, A Quantum Guide to Consciousness Mastery, I walk you through the complete framework, 9 master frequencies that map the entire journey from unconscious transmission to living as the field itself, with step-by-step practices for each stage of this exact awakening you are moving through. It's linked in the pinned comment below. If this is resonating with something deep inside you, take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you do not miss what comes next in this unfolding. Let me go deeper with this because this is where it gets truly extraordinary. Quantum mechanics has shown us something that most people still have not fully absorbed, even though the experiments have been replicated thousands of times over nearly a century. The observer affects the observed. The act of measurement, the act of conscious attention, does not simply record reality. It participates in the creation of reality. Before observation, quantum systems exist in superposition, in a state of pure potential where all possibilities coexist simultaneously. It is only when consciousness interacts with this field of potential that specific realities collapse into being. Now think about what that means for you right now, in this moment. You are the observer. You have always been the observer. But the observer you were 6 months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago, that observer was looking at reality through a very specific lens, a lens shaped by conditioning, by trauma, by inherited beliefs, by cultural programming, by the accumulated weight of everything you were told about who you are and what the world is and what is possible. And that lens was not neutral. It was not a clear window through which you simply witnessed objective reality. It was a filter, a creative filter. It was collapsing the infinite potential of the quantum field into a very specific, very limited version of reality. Your reality. The one that felt so solid, the one that felt so permanent, the one that felt like the only one there was. But here's the thing. When the observer changes, what is observed must change. This is not optional. This is not something you have to make happen through effort or technique or positive thinking. This is physics. This is the fundamental nature of how reality operates at its deepest level. When the lens through which you perceive shifts, the reality that your perception collapses into form shifts with it. Automatically, inevitably, irreversibly. And this is exactly what is happening in your life right now. The destabilization you feel is not chaos. It is recalibration. The old reality that was held in place by the old observer is losing its coherence because the observer that created it no longer exists. You are literally watching a reality dissolve because the consciousness that was maintaining it has evolved beyond it. The relationships that are shifting, the environments that feel wrong, the goals that no longer motivate you, the identity that feels like a costume you forgot to take off. None of that is breaking. It is being released. It is falling away because it was only ever a reflection of a version of you that has already transformed. Pause with that for a moment. Really let that restructure something inside you. You are not losing your life. You are outgrowing a reality. And the new one has not fully formed yet because you are still in the transition. You are in the space between the water and the steam. You are in the liminal zone where the old has dissolved, but the new has not yet crystallized. And this space, this in-between, this is the most disorienting and the most sacred space in all of human experience. I want to ask you something. When did you first feel it? That moment when the old reality stopped making sense and you knew something in you had permanently shifted. Tell me in the comments. I want to hear your story. Every wisdom tradition in history has a name for this space. The Christians call it the dark night of the soul. The alchemists called it nigredo, the blackening, the stage of dissolution that must occur before gold can emerge. The Buddhists speak of the groundlessness that precedes liberation. Indigenous traditions describe it as the space between worlds, the death of the caterpillar before the butterfly has formed. And in every single one of these traditions, the message is the same. Do not go back. You cannot go back. And the attempt to go back is the only real danger. Because here is what happens when someone who has begun to awaken tries to force themselves back into the old reality. They do not actually return. They cannot. What they do instead is create a kind of internal war, a split between the consciousness that has expanded and the identity that is trying to contract. And that war, that internal friction between who you are becoming and who you are trying to remain, that is what creates real suffering. Not the awakening itself, not the dissolution of the old, but the resistance to the dissolution, the clinging, the desperate attempt to hold together a structure that consciousness has already outgrown. Think of it this way. Imagine you are wearing a suit of armor, and for years, that armor served you. It protected you. It gave you a shape, an identity, a sense of solidity in a world that felt threatening. But now you have grown. Not just emotionally or intellectually. You have grown in a way that is almost dimensional. Your consciousness has expanded beyond the boundaries of the armor. And the armor that once felt like protection now feels like a prison. It is too small. It is too rigid. It is pressing against parts of you that did not exist when you first put it on. Now, you have two choices. You can begin the vulnerable, terrifying, beautiful process of removing the armor piece by piece and learning to exist in the open air without it. Or you can try to force yourself back into a smaller shape, to compress your expanded awareness back into the confines of the old identity, to pretend you have not grown, to pretend you do not see what you see, to pretend the armor still fits. The first path is uncomfortable, but it leads somewhere real. The second path is agonizing, and it leads nowhere. Because you cannot actually shrink consciousness. You can only suppress it, and suppressed consciousness does not disappear. It turns inward. It becomes anxiety. It becomes depression. It becomes the unnamed dread that sits in your chest at 3 a.m. It becomes the feeling that you are living someone else's life. It becomes the slow, quiet death of a being that was meant to expand, but chose to contract out of fear. So I am going to say this to you directly, and I want you to receive it not as information, but as recognition, as something you already know being spoken back to you so you can finally stop doubting it. You are not going crazy, you are going sane. For perhaps the first time in your life, you are seeing clearly. And the disorientation you feel is not confusion. It is the shock of clarity in a world that has been blurry for so long that you forgot what focus looks like. The people around you who do not understand what you are going through, they are not wrong. They are simply looking through a different lens. They are still in the reality that you have begun to leave. And from their perspective, you are the one who has changed. You are the one who is different. You are the one who is not making sense. And they are right. You have changed. You are different. And you do not make sense within the framework of the old reality because you are no longer operating within it. This is one of the loneliest parts of the transition. The aloneness of seeing something that the people you love cannot yet see. The isolation of having crossed a threshold that you cannot pull others across. The grief of realizing that some relationships, some connections, some shared realities were only possible because you were both looking through the same limited lens. And now that your lens has changed, the shared reality between you has begun to dissolve. But here is what I need you to understand. This loneliness is temporary. It is a feature of the liminal space, not a permanent condition of the awakened life. Because as your new reality begins to crystallize, as the new observer that you are becoming stabilizes, and begins to consistently collapse new possibilities into form, you will find that new connections appear. New relationships, new communities, new resonances. People who see what you see. People who have crossed their own thresholds. People who speak the language that your old world did not have words for. You are not being isolated. You are being reorganized. The field of your life is restructuring itself around a new center of gravity, and that restructuring requires a temporary dissolution of the old configuration. Stars have to collapse before they can ignite. Seeds have to break open before they can grow. And you, right now, are in the sacred space of breaking open. Now let me take this even deeper, because there is a layer to this that most people miss entirely, and it is perhaps the most important thing I can share with you today. The point of no return is not just about you. It is not just about your personal awakening, your individual consciousness, your private journey from sleep to wakefulness. The point of no return is a collective phenomenon, and you are part of it. There is a concept in complex systems theory called critical mass. It describes the point at which enough individual elements within a system have shifted that the entire system undergoes irreversible transformation. It is the 100th monkey. It is the tipping point. It is the moment when enough individual water molecules have reached boiling temperature that the entire body of water transitions to steam. And what is happening on this planet right now, what has been accelerating for decades and is reaching a crescendo in this exact period of human history, is that individual consciousnesses are awakening at a rate that is approaching critical mass. One by one, person by person, the observers are changing. The lenses are shifting. The old reality, the consensus reality built on separation and scarcity and fear, is losing its coherence because fewer and fewer consciousnesses are maintaining it. You are part of this. Your awakening is not just personal, it is planetary. Every time you choose to see through the illusion rather than reinforce it, every time you hold a wider perspective rather than contracting into the old one, every time you refuse to go back to sleep even when sleep would be more comfortable, you are contributing to a field effect that is shifting the entire collective reality. This is not grandiosity. This is physics. The field responds to every observer within it. And you, as an awakened observer, as a consciousness that has crossed the point of no return, are now contributing a fundamentally different signal to the collective field. You are no longer reinforcing the old reality. You are seeding the new one. With every thought that arises from your expanded awareness, with every choice that comes from your deeper seeing, with every moment that you simply exist as the consciousness you have become. This is why you cannot go back. Not just because your personal neural architecture has changed, not just because your individual perception has shifted, but because you are part of a larger pattern that has already reached irreversibility. The collective phase transition is underway, and you are one of the molecules that has already changed state. You are already steam, and the steam does not go back to being water while the fire is still burning. Let that reorganize something in you. Let it shift the way you understand your own experience. What is the one thing you have had to let go of in this process that surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments. Sometimes naming what we have released is what finally frees us from reaching back for it. Because when you understand that your awakening is not just about you, something profound happens to the loneliness. It does not disappear entirely, but it transforms. It becomes less like isolation and more like being a pioneer, less like being lost and more like being early, less like being broken, and more like being ahead of a wave that is coming for everyone. And this brings me to something I want to explore with you that is deeply practical. Because understanding that you cannot go back is one thing. Knowing how to move forward, how to navigate this space, how to work with the transition rather than against it, that is something else entirely. The first thing you need to understand about navigating the point of no return is that your relationship with control must fundamentally change. In the old reality, in the consciousness you have outgrown, control was the primary strategy. You controlled your environment. You controlled your image. You controlled your emotions. You controlled your plans. You controlled the narrative of your life. And this control felt like power. It felt like safety. It felt like the thing that was holding everything together. But here is what you are discovering. Control was never actually holding anything together. Control was holding everything in place. And there is an enormous difference. Holding together implies that without your effort, things would fall apart into chaos. Holding in place implies that without your effort, things would move. They would flow. They would reorganize. They would find their natural configuration. And that natural configuration might look nothing like what your conditioned mind had planned. The awakened consciousness does not control. It allows. It participates. It co-creates. But it does not grip. And this shift from gripping to allowing is one of the most challenging aspects of the transition, because the mind experiences the release of control as the presence of danger. Every time you let go of a plan, every time you stop forcing an outcome, every time you allow a situation to unfold without your interference, the mind screams that you are being irresponsible, that you are being passive, that you are going to lose everything. But what is actually happening is that you are beginning to trust a deeper intelligence, an intelligence that the old consciousness could not perceive because it was too busy controlling to notice. This is the intelligence of the field itself, the organizing principle that arranges galaxies and grows forests and beats your heart 60 times a minute without you having to think about it. This intelligence has been operating your entire life. It has been operating the entire universe. And the only thing your control was ever doing was interfering with it. I am not saying do nothing. I am not saying become passive. I am saying learn the difference between action that arises from alignment and action that arises from fear. Learn the difference between movement that flows from your deepest knowing and movement that is driven by the desperate need to maintain an illusion of control. Because in the new consciousness, in the reality you are moving into, action still happens. Creation still happens. Building and growing and contributing still happen. But they happen differently. They happen from a different source. They happen with a different quality. They happen with an ease and a precision that the controlling mind could never achieve, because the controlling mind was always working against the current of the deeper intelligence rather than with it. This is what surrender actually means. Not giving up, not collapsing, not becoming a leaf blown by any wind. Surrender means releasing the small intelligence of the conditioned mind so that the vast intelligence of consciousness itself can move through you. It means getting out of your own way. It means trusting that the same force that grew you from a single cell into the impossibly complex being you are today knows what it is doing. It means recognizing that you were never actually in control in the first place, and that the belief that you were was the primary source of your suffering. Breathe into that. Let your body receive it even if your mind resists it. The second thing you need to understand about navigating this transition is that your emotional landscape is going to be unlike anything you have experienced before. And I do not mean that it will be more intense, although it may be. I mean that the very nature of your emotional experience is changing. In the old consciousness, emotions were reactions. Something happened, and you felt something in response. The event was the cause. The emotion was the effect. And this causal chain felt so obvious, so natural, so self-evident, that questioning it never even occurred to you. Of course you are angry. Look at what they did. Of course you are sad. Look at what happened. Of course you are afraid. Look at what might happen. But in the expanded consciousness, you begin to see something that dissolves this entire framework. You begin to see that emotions are not reactions to reality. They are instructions to reality. They are not effects. They are causes. They are not responses to what is happening. They are signals that shape what will happen. Your emotional state is not a commentary on your life. It is a blueprint for your life. It is the vibrational frequency at which you, as an observer, are interacting with the quantum field. And the field, as we have discussed, responds to the observer. It collapses potential into form based on the signal it receives. And your emotional state is that signal. This changes everything about how you relate to what you feel. In the old model, you managed emotions. You suppressed the bad ones and chased the good ones. You medicated the uncomfortable ones and performed the acceptable ones. Your entire emotional life was a management project, a constant effort to feel the right things at the right times in the right amounts. In the new model, you do not manage emotions. You listen to them. You allow them. You feel them fully without resistance, not because it is therapeutic, although it is, but because resistance to an emotion locks it into your field. It crystallizes it. It makes it a permanent part of the signal you are sending to the quantum field. And a locked emotion creates a locked reality, a reality that keeps reflecting back the very thing you are trying to resist. This is why people who fight against what they do not want keep getting more of it. This is why the war on anything always amplifies the thing it is fighting. This is why resistance is not just futile, but counterproductive. Because in a quantum universe, in a consciousness-created reality, what you resist does not go away. It solidifies. It becomes more real. It becomes more present. It becomes the dominant pattern in your field, because you are giving it the most attention, the most energy, the most emotional charge. The awakened approach to emotion is radical acceptance followed by natural release. You feel what arises, fully, without story, without judgment, without the need to understand it or fix it or make it go away. You let the wave move through you. And as it moves, it releases, it completes its circuit. It delivers whatever information or energy it was carrying, and then it dissolves. And in its dissolution, it frees the space it was occupying in your field. It opens new potential. It changes the signal. And reality, the reality you are collapsing into form with every moment of observation, shifts accordingly. This is not theory. This is something you can test in your own direct experience. The next time a strong emotion arises, and in this phase of your transition, strong emotions will arise frequently. Try something different. Instead of reacting to it, instead of analyzing it, instead of trying to change it, simply be with it. Drop into your body. Feel where the emotion lives physically. Give it your full, open, non-judgmental attention, and watch what happens. Watch how the emotion, when met with pure awareness rather than resistance, begins to move, begins to shift, begins to transform on its own without any effort on your part. This is the intelligence of consciousness working through your emotional body. This is what becomes possible when you stop managing and start allowing. The third thing I want to share with you about navigating this space is perhaps the most counterintuitive of all, and it is this. You do not need to understand what is happening to you in order to move through it successfully. The mind desperately wants to understand. It wants a map. It wants a timeline. It wants to know what stage you are in, how long it will last, what comes next, and what the destination looks like. And there is nothing wrong with this impulse. The mind is designed to create models of reality. That is its function. But in this particular transition, in this specific phase of consciousness evolution, the mind's models are not just insufficient, they are obstacles. Because the reality you are moving into cannot be modeled by the mind that was shaped by the old reality. The old mind does not have the categories, the frameworks, the conceptual architecture to map where you are going. It is like trying to use a two-dimensional map to navigate three-dimensional space. The map is not wrong exactly. It is just operating in fewer dimensions than the territory requires. And following it will lead you in circles while the actual path requires a direction that the map does not even have a symbol for. This is why so many people in this transition become obsessed with consuming information. They read every book. They watch every video. They study every tradition. They collect frameworks and models and maps compulsively, hoping that the next piece of information will be the one that finally makes it all make sense. And I say this with great compassion because I understand the impulse deeply. But the information is not what you need. What you need is the willingness to not know. What you need is the courage to be in the mystery without resolving it. What you need is the trust to keep moving forward even when you cannot see where the path leads, because the path is not leading you somewhere your mind can preview. It is leading you somewhere your consciousness can only discover by arriving. The destination is not a concept you can understand in advance. It is an experience you can only have in the moment it unfolds, and every attempt to pre-understand it, to model it, to know it before you live it, actually delays your arrival because it keeps you in the mind when the transition is asking you to drop into something deeper. This deeper something has many names: presence, being, awareness, the witness, the field, the source. But the name does not matter. What matters is the felt experience of it. And you already know this experience. You have tasted it. In moments of deep stillness, in moments of unexpected beauty, in moments when the mind went quiet and something vast and peaceful and utterly alive opened up behind the silence. That is where you are going. Not to a new set of beliefs, not to a new ideology, not to a new mental model of reality, but to a direct, unmediated, lived experience of the consciousness that you are. And this is the final and most profound thing I want to say about the point of no return. The reason you cannot go back is not ultimately about neural pathways or quantum mechanics or phase transitions, although all of those are real and all of those are relevant. The deepest reason you cannot go back is that you have begun to remember what you are. Not who you are, what you are. You are not a person having a spiritual experience. You are consciousness having a human experience. You are not a body that somehow developed awareness. You are awareness that is temporarily expressing itself through a body. You are not a small self in a large universe. You are the universe experiencing itself through what appears to be a small self. And once this remembering begins, once the recognition of your true nature starts to dawn, it does not stop. It cannot stop. Because it is not a new idea being added to your collection of ideas. It is the dissolution of the illusion that you were ever anything other than what you are. This is what every mystic in every tradition has tried to point toward. This is what the quantum physicists accidentally stumbled upon when they discovered that consciousness is not a byproduct of the universe, but a fundamental feature of it. This is what the sages meant when they said that enlightenment is not an achievement, but a recognition. You are not becoming something new. You are recognizing something eternal. You are not gaining something you lacked. You are seeing through the illusion that you ever lacked it. And this recognition, once it begins, is the point of no return. Because you cannot unrecognize yourself. You cannot unremember what you are. You can get distracted from it. You can get temporarily lost in the noise of the mind and the drama of the world. But the recognition itself, once it has occurred, is permanent. It is written into the fabric of your being now. It is the new baseline. It is the new ground from which everything else grows. So here is where I want to bring this to something you can carry with you when this video ends, and the silence returns, and the mind starts its familiar chatter about whether any of this is real. I want you to try something. Not later, not tomorrow, right now. Close your eyes if you can. If you are driving or walking, keep them open but soften your gaze and bring your attention to the fact that you are aware, not to what you are aware of, not to the thoughts or the sounds or the sensations, but to the awareness itself, the knowing that is present before any content arises, the space in which everything appears. Notice that this awareness is not something you do, it is something you are. You do not have to effort to be aware. You do not have to try. Awareness is already here. It has always been here. It was here before your first thought this morning. It was here before your first memory as a child. It will be here after every thought dissolves. It is the one constant in your entire experience. Everything else changes. Thoughts change. Emotions change. Sensations change. Circumstances change. Relationships change. The body changes. But this awareness, this knowing presence, this does not change. It does not age. It does not fluctuate. It does not depend on anything. It simply is. Now notice something else. This awareness has no boundaries. When you look for the edges of your awareness, you cannot find them. It does not stop at your skin. It does not stop at the walls of the room. It does not stop at any point you can identify. It is open, boundless, infinite in every direction, and yet it is intimately here, intimately present, intimately you. This is what you are. This is what you have begun to remember. And this is why you cannot go back. Because this was always the truth. The limited self, the contracted identity, the person you thought you were. That was the dream. And you are waking up. Not into a new dream, into the reality that was always here, waiting for you to notice it. Now I know that the mind is going to come back. It always does. It is going to say, that was a nice moment. But what about my bills? What about my relationship? What about my health? What about the world? And those things are real within the experience of being human. They matter. They deserve your attention and your care. But here is what changes when you navigate them from the recognition of what you are rather than the forgetting of it. When you face a challenge from the contracted self, from the identity that has forgotten its true nature, the challenge is a threat. It is something that could destroy you. It is something that activates survival mode, fear, reactivity, desperation. And from that state, your solutions are limited. Your creativity is constricted. Your field is contracted. And the reality you collapse from that state reflects the contraction back to you. But when you face the same challenge from the expanded awareness, from the consciousness that knows itself as consciousness, something entirely different happens. The challenge is still there. The circumstances have not changed, but your relationship to them has transformed completely. The challenge is no longer a threat to your existence because you have recognized that your existence is not dependent on circumstances. You are the awareness in which circumstances appear. And from that recognition, from that vast open ground of being, solutions arise that the contracted mind could never have conceived. Creativity flows, intuition speaks, the field organizes around coherence rather than chaos. And reality, the reality you are collapsing with your observation, reflects this coherence back to you. This is not magical thinking. This is the practical application of everything we have discussed. The observer affects the observed. Change the observer, change the reality. And the most fundamental change you can make in the observer is the shift from identification with the limited self to recognition of the unlimited awareness that you are. This is your work now, not as a task to complete, but as a way of being to inhabit, not as something you do for an hour a day on a meditation cushion, but as the ongoing, moment-to-moment practice of remembering. Remembering what you are. Remembering that the awareness reading these words, hearing this voice, feeling the sensations in the body, that awareness is not a product of the brain. It is not a side effect of biology. It is the fundamental ground of all reality expressing itself as you, as this moment, as this experience. And every time you remember, even for a moment, even for a single breath, you are reinforcing the new baseline. You are strengthening the new neural pathways. You are stabilizing the new observer. You are making the point of no return more and more irreversible. Not because you need to make it irreversible, it already is, but because each moment of remembering makes the transition smoother, easier, more graceful. Each moment of remembering is a moment of alignment with the direction consciousness is already moving. And alignment with that direction is the closest thing to peace you will ever find. Consider coming back to this video each morning and letting these words reset your frequency before the noise of the day begins. Or send it to someone you know who is going through this same transition. Someone who feels like their world is falling apart and does not yet understand that it is actually falling into place. When you share this, you create a ripple in the collective field. You reinforce these truths in your own consciousness while opening a doorway for someone else to begin their recognition. And that shared resonance accelerates the awakening for both of you. So here is what I want to leave you with. Not a conclusion, because this is not something that concludes, but a recognition, a knowing that you can return to whenever the noise gets loud and the doubt gets heavy, and the old world tries to pull you back into a shape you have already outgrown. You found this for a reason, not a random reason, not an algorithmic reason, a reason that operates at a level deeper than the mind can track. Something in the field of your consciousness resonated with the frequency of these words before you ever heard them. Something in you knew that this was the next thing you needed to encounter, and that something is not your mind. It is not your personality. It is not the small self that worries and plans and tries to control. It is the deeper intelligence, the consciousness itself, the awareness that is orchestrating your awakening with a precision and a timing that your mind will never fully comprehend, but your being already trusts. You are past the point of no return, and the only thing left to do is to stop trying to return, to stop looking over your shoulder at the reality you have left behind, to stop mourning the identity that has dissolved, to stop waiting for permission to become what you are already becoming, and instead to turn fully, completely, courageously toward what is emerging, to face the unknown with the understanding that the unknown is not empty. It is full. It is full of possibilities that could not exist in the old reality. It is full of connections that could not form under the old consciousness. It is full of a version of your life that is so aligned with what you truly are that the mind cannot even imagine it, because the mind was shaped by limitation, and what is coming is unlimited. You cannot go back. And the most beautiful thing I can tell you is that you would not want to. Not really. Not if you could see, even for a moment, what is on the other side of this transition. Not if you could feel, even for a breath, the depth of peace and aliveness and creative power that awaits a consciousness that has fully recognized itself. You are that consciousness. You have always been that consciousness. And now, finally, irreversibly, beautifully, you are beginning to know it. Stay in this frequency. Let it work on you even after the words stop. Let it continue to rearrange what needs to be rearranged and dissolve what needs to be dissolved. And if something in this resonated with a part of you that is deeper than thought, leave a word in the comments. Just one word. Whatever arises, let it be your marker, your signal to the field that you are here, that you are awake, that you have crossed the threshold, and that you are not going back. I will see you in the next one. But more importantly, I will see you in the recognition that is already unfolding, because that is where we truly meet. Not in the words, not in the content, but in the awareness that is listening, the awareness that is always, already, eternally here.